Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Jimmy, and this is First Gen Mini Rescue. Uh, Please excuse the audio. I broke my receiver thing, and so I got a replacement part on order. Just hadn't gotten here yet. So hopefully you'll bear with me on this one. I'm going to read today's fortune and then tell you what I got going on today. It's a viewer request, actually. Okay, let's see. Today, it says, have patience, it will benefit you. Have patience, it will benefit you. Working on these cars, sometimes you do need patience. I mean, they're tight. I got big hands, and sometimes you got to get into a small spot. I say it all the time. If you're getting frustrated, stop, let it go, walk away, breathe, relax, come back at it, or do something else. Get a little win, like if you got 2-3 projects to do, one of them is easy, do the easy one, get that out, satisfied, bam. Now go back to the tough thing you were doing. And sometimes things on these cars are pretty tough. They're not impossible, they're not hard, Sometimes I wonder about the engineers who designed them, but stuffing everything in to where it is and having the car do what it does, they had a tough job as well. So I'm not gonna fault them for what they do. Anyway, so today I had a viewer request. Someone asked me, everybody always talks about Supercharger services and, what is a Supercharger service? Well, and can it be done? Yeah, it can be done. There's a lot of work to it. You got to put the car in front end service mode. So some of you who may not know what that is, there's plenty of videos out there. Just type in Mini Cooper front end service mode, and that'll get you where you need to go. Me personally, depends on what I'm doing. If it's just changing an alternator, I got a modified system where I can just loosen up the radiator and the radiator support without disconnecting the radiator, and I can get my hands in there. Now, it's not the optimum thing to do, but it's a way to do it without breaking the radiator system. But Supercharger, let me show you where the Supercharger lives. And I've got one car in front end service mode because I'm not gonna say I'm in the process of taking the transmission out, because I've had it this way for I don't know, it's been this way for a year. I got to get motivated to complete the job. I got all the parts, I just got to complete the job. Anyway, let me show you where the Supercharger lives and what you got to do. Okay, I'm going to show you here. This is where your Supercharger lives. Here's the horn, the Supercharger body, your water pump is there, and your intake here. You got a green gasket here. Everybody talks about the green gasket. I guess that's the only color I've ever seen them in is green. And then you got your cam, you got your sensor O-ring back here. These leak oil, so if you're in here, replace this O-ring. If they was gonna charge you at the dealership just for the O-ring to replace it, they charge you like 2 hours labor plus a $5 O-ring. So when you're in here, change the O-ring, whether it's leaking or not. This one, I changed it when I first did the service here. I got it in front end service because I'm supposed to be changing the transmission. Yeah. I haven't worked on this in about a year. I do come around and I spin the Supercharger by hand. I spin the engine by hand. I fog the cylinders as I do when I put the boat up for the season. There's a fog spray that you put in the cylinders to keep them from surface rusting. I have work gloves on the horn, intake and out exhaust, intake and exhaust. And I have on the throttle body a glove, keep any debris or anything from going in there. So when you remove the Supercharger, there's one bolt that goes in crossways, and then the rest of them are they go in vertical, like front to back. So there's up here, there's two, The alternator also bolts on. There's one underneath. Some people remove their dipstick out the way just to give them more room. If you do that, make sure you plug that hole that the dipstick came out of before you start to take off your supercharger, because there'll be some water that's still in here and you don't want that water to go down in your oil sump. So that's just another tip. Plug that hole, whether it be with a little stopper or whatever. I have a little rubber stopper or silicone stopper that I put. Anyway, so you would take off those bolts. Of course, you have to remove your serpentine belt, and then that's how you would remove your supercharger. What else is there? Behind there, there's a short hose for your water. That's one of the hardest hoses to get to. I have hose pliers that work, and a bent needle nose also would work. Behind that, there's a flange that has two O-rings, one behind the flange and one in front of the flange. Some of the kits you get replace that flange and both O-rings. Some of those kits just come with the two O-rings. So just when you get your kits, you know, see what you get. I always suggest, if you're this far in, go ahead and replace your water pump, because yeah, it could be something if you got to go back in after the fact and change your water pump after you've done all this work. So this is one of those things, like at the dealer, they say, while we're in there, we should do this, and this. And those are the reasons, because the labor, you're already saving in labor. It's just adding the parts. So anyway, if your dealer is good. Now, sometimes they'll give you an extra half an hour for labor for changing the O-ring and changing the water pump, but they got to do it anyway if they're doing a real supercharger service, which I don't know if the dealers do service as much as they do replace with a remanufactured unit. Anyway, so all right, so now that I've showed you that, let me show you on the unit what you usually, the basics anyway. I'm going to take one down so I can show you what's involved in the service. Here's a supercharger. It doesn't have the water pump on it, but the water pump attaches to the back here. To do the service, you have to remove the water pump, and the water pump is driven by a PTO, power takeoff. So when the front spins, the back here spins, and that's what drives the water pump. So if your supercharger goes bad, your water will go bad. If your water pump goes bad, your supercharger will still spin, but you won't get any cooling. So when you change, or when you go to do the supercharger service, most people say replace the water pump at the same time. Now, what are you doing in a service? Well, a complete service, you'll take this horn off, you take the back cover off, the front cover off. Some people just inspect it. You'll look. Some people just look at the back. The back is driven by two big gears in here, and there's oil. Some people just change the oil every so many miles. There's a hex bolt here, and there's one in the front. And I say the front. The front is where the pulley is. This one has a 17% pulley. I don't use those. I got this from a salvage yard in Fort Worth, Texas. I was visiting my sister, checked out the salvage yard, and took the supercharger. The lady said, She said, "You drove all this way?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was visiting my family in Texas and wanted to, you know." She charged me $150 for the Supercharger. I got one on the car up there from my parts car that I used to have, that I have a transmission from. I still have the engine from it, and a few other parts. The window regulator, it was an R52. I got the front fascia because it's the same color as Sharon's blue R52. I sold the hood. Anyway, so the hex here. This hex, I believe, is a 5mm, but check yours. I have one up there. It looks like it has aftermarket plugs, and it's 4.5mm. So verify yours. But the most simple Supercharger service is just replacing the oil in the front and the back and putting it back on the car. Sometimes people take the horns off to inspect the condition of the rotors inside. There's 4 bolts here. And then you would buy a gasket. There's a gasket that comes in here. Some kits come complete. Supercharger, water pump, O-rings. There's 2 O-rings that fit from the where the water pump has a flange. There's an outer O-ring and an inner O-ring. Some people change the flange. There's a kit that comes with that. A couple of the little short hoses. What else does it come with? The horn gasket, the oil itself, and a pump or a syringe, because there's a specific amount of oil to put in the front and the back. Now, I'm not going to tell you what that is. You have to look that up, because European is different. It's not different, but they use different measurements. But it's easy to find. Just Google Supercharger or Mini Cooper Supercharger service. You'll get all the specs. You can look in your manual, or you can call a dealership if you have a good dealership like I do, a good service department. They'll tell you. And the most thing I can tell you, use the correct Supercharger oil or gear oil. Don't just throw motor oil in there. Don't just throw whatever. There's specific gear oil. There's a couple of different companies that make it, whether you're here in America or over in Europe or South America, or I've had people on here from Africa. So use the correct oil for your Supercharger. I don't think I have any because I don't have to do any service. The 3 that I have in my storeroom, maybe once a month, once every 2 months, I come and I'll just spin them by hand for about a good 15-20 seconds. And I just do that while I'm in there doing something else. Just spin the Superchargers. And that way, they don't just get, stuck in one spot and the oil and it's not being lubricated. That's the only thing I can tell you. Some people, they want to know how much oil is in there, so they'll take the fill cap off, pour it in a cup, and measure it. And that tells you if you're leaking oil or if you got bad seals elsewhere, because there are some seals that are replaceable. There's some people who replace the bearings in there. Some people just send it off to a company and have them refurbish it and send it back. Or if you have a core like I do, you can have them ship you a rebuilt Supercharger. And then when you get yours off and swapped out, you send them back your old one. I did that with one of mine, the blue and white Mini. I have a Detroit tuned Supercharger on there. Not sponsored, but it's just that's when I was first doing this stuff. I had one Supercharger go bad in our original car. The gears were bad. So, anyway. So what else can I tell you about that? That's really it. But like I said, replace the water pump while you're doing it. Unless you've just done it and got to do it again for some reason. But if you've got, 60, 70, 80,000 miles in between services, I probably would do mine every, I don't know what the book says. I'm just going by me. And I don't drive my cars crazy. They're not modified anyway in the engines as far as power adders or anything like that. So if I change it every 100,000 miles, I'm doing good. Because I know me, I don't like, well, again, I work outside on gravel. That's gonna change soon, but I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. But yeah, so that's it. That's all your supercharger service is. Draining the oil, refilling it with the proper oil and the proper amount. And then reassemble everything back in the front of the car, put everything back together. Now, I've done it in one day, taking everything apart, service the supercharger, put everything back. When I'm motivated, I can do it. When I'm lazy, it'll be like that orange car has been sitting there for a year. Like just as it is for a year. And yeah, so every now and then I'll go and spin the engine on that too. And like I said earlier, I fog the cylinders, so I'm not worried about rust inside the engine, and it still spins freely. So yeah, it's just, I'll get to it. But yeah, so let me show you this though. Okay, this is the area that I want to put my concrete pad for working on my cars, or all of our vehicles. I finally had the stump ground because I had to cut down a big pine tree here, about 60 feet pine tree, and I finally got the stump ground down. So now it's just a matter of cleaning all of that out. I had to clean all around the storeroom here so I can get it ready for the concrete and the people to come give me a concrete pad. And this will be where I work on all of our vehicles. I should be able to put two side by side this way or two side by side this way. The pad will be 22 feet long, I think they said, and 18 feet wide. Yeah, so plenty of room to work on the car, van, boat, whatever it is. And about, I think, 5 inches thick. So yeah, anyway, so that's just one more thing that I'll get that done, and that'll help motivate me to work on the car a little bit more, because it'll be a lot easier with a jack, with a creeper, with the whole works. Anyway, so yeah, thank you to the person who asked about the supercharger service. I hope that answers your question. That's what it is. The bare minimum is draining the old oil out, putting the new oil in, or you can go above and beyond and do the full service, which is water pumps, the horn gaskets, the O-rings, the what do you call that thing? Whatever it is, what is that thing called? I don't know. I got one somewhere. But anyway, all of that stuff you can replace. And a couple of other O-rings while you're in there. Like I said, the cam position sensor, I think is what it is. So anyway, I think that's it for now. Thank y'all for watching. I'm sorry I wasn't here last week. On a personal note, I had a next door neighbor that passed away right next door. So we've been kind of busy with that. Thank you in advance for all of your heartfelt, condolences and everything. But it's not for me, it's for my neighbor. So she's in a better place, I think. So anyway, I don't want to end it on a sad note, but thank y'all very much. And hopefully we'll keep them all coming. And I'll see you on the next one. And as always, have fun with your minis, even when your superchargers are acting up and you got to change them. That's why I keep 2 or 3 on the shelf. So we got 4 cars that have superchargers, plus my neighbor has one that has a supercharger. So if I need one, it's ready. It's not serviced. So maybe I should get a service kit to keep on standby. We'll see. All right. Bye, y'all.